Hello and welcome to the program. It's good to be with you again. I am Imonia Marere. The 2025 governorship election in Anambra State is done and dusted, with incumbent Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo of the All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA declared winner. As the dust settles, it's time to reflect not only on the outcome, but on the aftermath, the undercurrents of contestation, governance implications, and the broader questions this election poses for democracy in the state and beyond. Governor Soludo won an outright mandate, 422,664 votes, deflating closest rival Nicholas Ukachukwu of the All Progressives Congress, APC, who polled 99,445 votes. The election saw Soludo sweep every local government in the final tally, 21 of them. Now, out of 2,788,804 registered voters, only 598,229 were accredited, about 21.5%. The valid votes stood at 584,054. while rejected votes numbered 11,244. For a state regarded as the cradle of political sophistication and enterprise in the Southeast, why the persistent low voter turnout? How the security concerns, influence of money politics, the credibility of the electoral umpire, and, very importantly, technology shape the process? How is the Anambra election likely to shape Nigeria's broader democratic struggles as we move towards 2027 contest? What does it say about the health of Nigeria's democracy? What does the outcome mean for governance, civic engagement, and democratic renewal? Now, on the program today, we will unpack the matters arising, the pitfalls, the prospects, and the lessons learned. We will be joined by party leaders from Anambra State on the program right after this time out. Stay with us.
Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
Let's get to meet our guest. Dr. Ejimofo Okpala is the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, the victorious party in Saturday's election. Dr. Ejimofo Okpala, thank you for joining us from Oka in Anambra State. All right, we're also joined from Oka in Anambra State by Bishop Amakiri.
Can you hear me?
Bishop Amakiri is the national chairman of the YPP, the Young Progressive Party, which also took part in Saturday's election. Bishop Amakiri, thank you so much for joining us.
The elder veteran. Good afternoon.
Mr. Amakiri, you need to unmute so that we can hear you here in the studio.
Yeah, of course I will meet long ago.
All right, also joining us from Anambra State is Mr. Michael Mbanefu. Mr. Mbanefu is a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress, APC, in Anambra State. Okay, let's proceed, Mr. Amakiri. Let's begin with you. First, let's have your take on the outcome, the processes and outcome of the election on Saturday. As chairman, national chairman of the YPP, what are your thoughts? Mr. Makri, you need to unmute so that we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Please go ahead.
Well, my dear brother, the truth of the matter is that it looks like our democracy is receding. Receding in the sense that those who are mandated to have championed the cause of democracy and give the people what the tenets of democracy is all about are really failing in their responsibilities. A situation where people bulldoze themselves, by all means, into power. I think that defeats the tenets of democracy. What took place in Anambra was actually a total transactional, that wasn't an election as far as I'm concerned. It was just a transactional election. Build up to the election, we've had, persons actually making statements on a public national televisions. In fact, the YPP, we wrote a petition to the IG, we wrote a petition to the new INEC chairman, thinking that as we speak, even before the election, any decision was taken about that. So what we saw in Anambra on the 8th of November was just a confirmation that, transactional leadership is what maybe I would say majority of Nigerians needed. Transactional leadership was what really transpired in Anambra State. A situation where openly, on a broad daylight, people are what I call vote trading, not even vote buying. The seller is giving out, and then the buyer is also taking. It's quite unfortunate. Our democracy is really bleeding, and I tell you, if we do not do something serious, someday we will wake up, and I'm sorry. I am a proponent of democracy, but unfortunately, if we do not actually put our hearts together and wake up and actually provide a solution to this problem, this cancer, someday we will just wake up and the rest will just be a history.
Mr. Makri, your party, the YPP, came third in that election. It scored 37,753 votes. Many people will say, oh, that was quite an impressive performance, given how young your party is, and that you were standing up against such political giants like ABGA in Anambra State, the APC, that controls the center, and of course the PDP, which has been a very formidable party over the years. In the last 25 years, the PDP, you record, at one time also controlled the governance in Anambra State. But this time around, the YPP appear to have dusted all the other parties to come third. Don't you consider that quite impressive?
Well, thank you for that recognition. But all I want to let you know is that we are not in the election just for impression's sake. We are not in the election just for impression's sake. We're in the election to make the difference, to win, so that we can provide the real leadership that Nigerians are yearning for. So some persons might say, yes, it was an impressive performance. But I'm saying, we are the only party without Godfather. There's nothing like Godfatherism in YPP. Our candidate went to that election, canvassed for voters, campaigned across the 21 local governments, across all the wards. In fact, we were going door to door. Our candidate was going door to door, campaigning. And we saw of course, the massive campaign, that, our party candidate and our party members did. So we were not in the election just for impressive sake. We're in the election to win the election. And don't forget that YPP, Anambra is YPP's stronghold. The the political capital and social capital that Ifeanyi Ubah, blessed memory, actually has helped build with the YPP is still there, is still existing. Okay? The truth of the matter is that the people of Anambra, they know what they want. But you see, when there are people who are masters of election, either rigging or vote buying, in the sense that people have said, we will know, no matter what it costs, I am going to win this election, or we are going to win this election. And by so doing, telling you that we have so much money to give to people that will win their polling unit or their ward or local government. And there is hunger in the land. When the hunger has been weaponized, and that's why I said, this transactional leadership, if we do not kill it, if we do not kill this transactional leadership that has actually put us to where we are today in Nigeria, I tell you, the transformational leadership that we are looking for in this country we might not get there.
All right.
But
Mr. Makri, let me bring him Dr. Ejimofo Okpala at this point in time. He is the National Publicity Secretary of the victorious APGA. I want to know whether he shares some of the sentiments that you have expressed. Dr. Okpala,
he cannot share the same sentiment. He cannot share the same sentiment with me. There's no way. So,
Dr. Okpala, so let's hear from you, Dr. Okpala. Your candidate won this election, at least was declared winner by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, and it appears, that it was a landslide victory for your party, winning in all 21 local governments across the state. Now, does this landslide across the 21 local governments strengthen or weaken democratic representation in Anambra State?
Okay, thank you, Moni. It's nice being here. And I'm also as you can see from my facial expression, I'm in a very ecstatic and happy mood. And much as my brother here, Bishop Abakri, has been, speaking from emotional, like that's how I define it. He's been quite very emotional. I understand his beat. But of course, if he sits there to tell you that their loss was not foretold, or that he wasn't anticipating the loss, then maybe he's just in self-conceit, or maybe just trying to, be clever by half. Because, in all honesty, he mentioned that the political capital and the goodwill of the YPP rested with the late Dr. Ifeanyi Ubah. And, I think maybe that same goodwill and political capital also died, with the late Senator. And as I speak to you, there is no such party as the YPP in Anambra State. As a matter of fact, at a party's rally in Ozobolo, in Ekusigo local government, the only surviving elected member that they have, openly the YPP had no candidate in this election. So I don't know, it's an internal affair of theirs. Go get their house in order, before he comes on air to talk about transactional politics or no transactional.
The YPP did have a candidate in the election, and they came third with over 37,000 votes.
What played out on Saturday was the people's mandate. What played on Saturday was the people expressing their unassailable joy and unassailable commitment to visible progress and development taking place in the state. People came all out to vote for the continuation of free education. They came all out to vote for the continuation of free antenatal free delivery. They came all out to vote for that man who broke the 34-year-old jinx of Anambra State, like you mentioned in your opening, and a state like Anambra State not having a befitting government and governor's lodge. And by the way, which their own candidate promised to convert to a hotel if he was elected. So, our people can be quite unforgiving that someone came and in less than 2 years built something that never existed in the state for 34 years. And another person is promising them on the sideline to a very consequential election that he was going to convert that same structure to a five-star hotel. My brother, it tells you, the quality of promises or projections they wanted for the state. So they came largely unprepared, and Anambra has moved beyond the rhetorics of, what the YPP or any other opposition party, try to advance to them. They have seen the best. They can't settle for less. And that's exactly what played out on Saturday. People came all out to vote for good governance. And it's very tangible. He is in Oka today. Maybe, I don't know the last time he came to Oka or came to Anambra State. I could spare him, some moment to take him around and show him some befores and afters of what Anambra was before Soludo and what Anambra is currently. And maybe take him back to what Anambra was before ABGA and what Anambra is today under the leadership of ABGA. So it's something that is telltale. We don't need to go back and forth with it. A child born today in Anambra understands that ABGA is a religion in Anambra State. So I can tell you for free, his candidate lost his own electoral war in this election. It tells you the level of unpopularity that their candidate suffered in terms of the entire political killing of 2025. So it was an ABGA election to win, and ABGA won it resoundingly. As a matter of fact, I want to
Dr.
also
Okpala, I don't
happen
think
in
that
election.
the YPP is the issue here. We're looking at the whole gamut of the electoral process last Saturday. And one of the things that has thrown up a lot of debate is the turnout of voters. There were 2.7 voters who collected their PVCs. By the end of the day, just a little less than 600,000 voters went out there to vote and to elect the new governor. Now, some people have said that the result, the low turnout and the result, does it really represent or reflect the will of the people of Anambra State?
Now, I'll respond to you in two ways. First, from the point of view of satisfaction, and from the other point of view of also some level of dissatisfaction. Now, let me come from the point of view of dissatisfaction in the first place. We had a mandate to actually shore up the voter participation to at least 1 million persons deciding this election, But so far, so good. We were able to do beyond the 500,000 threshold, and we believe that in the coming years the situation will get better. But let me also tell you that on the part of satisfaction, this is a significant departure from what existed in the past. The 2.7 million voter you just mentioned was of 2021. As at 2028, what we had was, by INEC data, 2.8 million registered voters. Now, if you go back to 2021, let me use that as, because it's just in the recent past. In 2021, you realize that out of the 2.7 million voters registered in 2021 to participate in that election, less than 10% of that population decided the outcome of the election. Because if you add up the totality of the votes cast in 2021, it was up to 200,000. As a matter of fact, our candidate won that election by 112,000 votes. So, and this was exactly what we saw, and we identified voter apathy as a major encumbrance, in Anambra State elections. And we geared up to mobilize our members, mobilizing the Anambra to increase the voter participation. And of course, that effort played out, even though not to our satisfaction, but it played out quite significantly. And I'll tell you that in 2017, the then governor gained re-election by 30%. He won the re-election by 30%. By 2017, yeah, about 30%. The next election was about 56%. But this one, we won this election about 73% of total number of valid votes cast. It was above 500,000, and we won by about over 400,000 votes, as against what we had in 2021, which was 112,000. So if you compare the data, you would realize that there was a significant departure from what has been existing. And it is not just, it didn't just happen from the blues. It happened as, it tells you that this is a major and a very massive response from the people affirming their unmistakable confidence in the leadership keep of not who has turned the state around, turned Anambra to what you may call one huge construction site. So while we are dissatisfied because our benchmark was to make sure that we had over 1 million persons participating in the poll, but we shot at the stars and landed on the sky, and we believe that as the years go by, as we make significant progress, as we continue to sensitize our people, get them to understand that their vote is their strength, their vote is their power, get them to be part of the political process. And we encourage other political parties to join us in this crusade. So this is exactly what the situation is. But what you must understand is that there was a significant improvement from what existed in the past.
All right.
With regards to voter participation and regard to those who voted.
Mr. Makiri, let me bring you on that point. The persistent low voter turnout in elections in Anambra State. In 2017, it was about 20% or 25%. In 2021, it was 10%. And this time around, like Dr. Okpala said, there's a doubling of that figure, 20-point-something% of voter turnout. What do you think is responsible for this consistent poor voter turnout in elections? Is it that political parties are themselves not doing what they are required to do, mobilize voters, educate them, create awareness about these elections, and get them to the polls? Or that the Independent National Electoral Commission did not do enough, and even civil society too did not do enough in the process of mobilization? Bishop Amakri, yes.
Yeah, I heard you loud and clear. But before I respond to that, without sounding immodest, and with due respect, I have a lot of respect for this AIT. If not for something, I would have asked you, please excuse me, because you don't pair me with somebody that his office is not a par with my office. I was supposed to be speaking with the national chairman if he's to be on this line with us, or I should have paired him with my public secretary. But let me not go there. He made mention of two things. I will respond to that question you asked. If you had told me you were pairing me with the public secretary of ABGA, I would tell you I will not be on the program.
He's representing the national chairman. We got his consent for him to represent him. We apologize for that.
The same thing with me. They got my consent, and I told them, let me give them somebody, but they insisted it's me. But it's okay. However, he made mention of two things. I will respond to your question, but I needed to clear something. He made mention of our party is in crisis. We should go and sort out our problem. I just laugh. If there is any party in Nigeria today that are topping the lead of internal crisis, I think ABGA is on the top on the table. He should go and let them go and sort themselves out. Okay? The second aspect of it, he was talking about Soludo's performance. Which performance? That somebody sold a narrative rhetoric even from his first tenure, that he was going to turn Anambra to a Taiwan and Dubai. Those promises, were they deceitful promises? Where is the Taiwan and Dubai that he has turned Anambra? I'm in Oka as we speak. So I don't want to go far. Now let me just touch the areas of what the question you asked. The reason why you continue to have voter apathy is because the voters themselves have lost confidence on the leaders. A situation where some people will be telling you, why do I go to vote when my vote will not be counted? If my vote is not going to be counted, why will I go for voting? Okay? So these are some of the issues. Now, you yourself, you have actually given the statistics from 2017 to 2021, and now today is 2025. And look at this, the Anambra people should ask themselves the question. This question is not even for me, it's for Anambarians. Whether what is wrong over the years that this voter apathy has become like a norm, that people don't like coming out to vote. That question, I think it should be left for in the Anambra.
All right, you talked about the voter apathy being maybe a consequence of the loss of confidence by the people in the governance system and those who are in power and authority. Now, how do you think that we are moving towards another major election? We are moving towards another standalone election in Ekiti, another one in Osun, before the 2027 general election. What do you suggest should be done and can be done in the immediate and in the long term to ensure that more Nigerians come out to vote in elections?
Yes, I think one of the solution. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
We need to create a kind of solution mechanism. What is the solution mechanism? Look, the Electoral Act needs to be really, really, really empowered. Okay? For example, number one, if we can have some kind of punitive measures where we can have something either in the Electoral Act or even in the Constitution, we should amend Constitution, and then there should be punitive measures where any party, political party, that is caught during election buying votes, they should disqualify that political party and her candidate from contesting that election. Unless we have that kind of hard punitive measures. For me, this is some of the things I would like to propose. That we should have a very stringent punitive measures that once it is established that a political party, either by proxy or by whatever, is being caught buying votes or selling of whatever thing, that political party should be banned, whether you are an incumbent governor or whoever you are, that political party should be banned. I mean, their vote should be cancelled, and I think that they should ban them from even subsequent participation of election.
Dr. Okpala, all through this election, in fact, on Saturday, there were a lot of complaints, even by election observers and election monitors and some of the political parties, including of course, your political party, alleging monetary inducement to voters openly in this election. Now, does that in any way taint the victory that your party has gained? Dr. Ejimafo, are you with us? Dr. Okpala, are you there with us? Okay, let me get back to Mr. Bishop.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you,
okay,
Dr. Okpala.
Okay, first of all, let me make some clarification. And I'm sure your producers are, we can also confirm from them. I'm not here in any representative capacity. I'm here in my capacity as National Police Secretary of the All Progressive Grand Alliance. I think my national chairman was on air earlier in the morning on a different program, and I was contacted to be on this program as the National Police Secretary of the party. And of course, I wasn't told I would be paired with anybody. And I'm here to speak to the facts and facts alone. And if Mr. Mark cannot deal with those facts, then it's a pity. The joke is not on me. So talking about vote buying and every other thing, you cannot put ABGA and vote buying in the same sentence. If there's any party that can be accused of vote buying, then it should be the unpopular parties. It should be the parties that are still jostling to be known in the state. For ABGA, we do not need to buy anyone to vote for us, either as a party or for our candidate. There are lots of factors that actually played out in this election. And if you look at the preliminary analysis, even the preliminary projections in the build-up to this election, all the odds across all spectrum, sectorally, in terms of performance, even to political considerations, they were all in the favor of APGA. And it's difficult for you to want to distort that reality. So in terms of vote buying, for me, I cannot confirm to you that I cannot tell you, for instance, that what I can confirm to you rather is that, of course, if there are parties that bought votes, it's actually not APGA. Maybe the other parties that participated, if they did well, but for APGA, we have an organic following in the state. This is a party that every member, you cannot count any family in Anambra without one person or persons who are members of APGA. So we mobilized our people. We campaigned across the nook and crannies of Anambra State, talking to our members, incentivizing them, giving them, if you like, all the motivation and all the support that they need to be part and parcel of this process.
Dr. Akpala, I beg to come in there. I beg to come in there. The fact that you say your party was not involved in monetary inducements and vote trading, as Mr. Amakri would describe it, does not remove the fact that there were allegations of vote trading on Saturday during the elections. Now, how does that impact the entire electoral process? That's my question. Because we are moving forward to other elections and ultimately the general election in 2027. How is this likely, this kind of electoral malpractice, likely to influence and impact the electoral process? What do we need to do to lay that kind of evil to rest?
Vote buying against the law. Yeah, vote buying is against the law. It's condemned by everyone, including our party. We do not encourage anyone and would not advise anyone to go out trading votes or buying votes and all that. So for me, going forward, I think I'd like for our people to be able to have something systemic, something within the framework, of the enforcement, because the laws are there. But what we may not really have is maybe the political willpower to really enforce the law to the letter. So we need to be able to come up with stricter enforcements so that when people go all out, doing these electoral malfeasance, they understand that it is almost near impossible for them not to be caught. If they have that sense, and also be able to mobilize the people for them to understand that, anyone who is coming to buy your vote does not mean well for you. And I will give you an example of this. It happened in 2021 election at a place called Ukulu in the local government, when a particular party came all out and, trying to buy the votes of, the electorate, the voters who were on the queue. A woman, and, quite fortuitously, a member of the All Progressive Grand Alliance. She stood up against that particular canvasser and said, "Mr. Leave this polling unit." As a matter of fact, that person was shamed out of the polling unit just for attempting to buy the vote of the electors who are on queue to vote. So this kind of consciousness needs to be mainstreamed. And that's why I'm saying that when you talk about these things, it's difficult for me to really talk about these things without giving you the African model. Because our model is, we believe that if you give the people tangible and visible development, then of course it can translate to electoral capital for you. If people see that you are significantly affecting their lives and livelihood, that you're providing them development that they cannot deny, they will of course give you their support any day, any time. And this is exactly how we move. So beyond the laws that are already existing, there has to be stricter enforcement, dimensions to ensuring that culprits do not go go without consequence, then again, there has to be a conscious reorientation by political parties of their members, because ghosts don't buy votes, neither do boils down to humans. So we must go down to members of the society so that anyone who sees courage to stand up against it.
All right, Mr. Makiri, let's switch gear a bit now and look at what the challenge of governance will be. The elections are over, the winner has been declared, and the governor has extended an olive branch to all other political parties in the state. What do you think would be the challenge of translating election victory into governance, legitimacy, and benefits for the people of Anambra State?
In a working democracy, are you hearing me?
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, in a working democracy, there's nothing wrong with people working together. After all, we all belong to this country. In the Anambra are all Anambarians, right? For me, I am an advocate of all-inclusive governance. But let's even deal with the issue of how that governance, or how that leadership, the process in which brought the leadership into power. So we need to deal with that first. For example, if the reason why some of us are in different political parties, I'm in YPP today, is not because I cannot find my way to APC or PDP, right? Those are the top leading parties in Nigeria. Forget whether PDP are having their problems, but you can't take that from them, right? But I refuse to go that route because maybe my ideology and their own does not resonate. So that is one thing with, you winning or a leadership in place. If some members don't want to actually associate themselves with that leadership, you can't blame them. Maybe they have reasons why they don't want to be part of that. Otherwise, the best idea is if people can open their doors to what they call an all-inclusive governance. But the problem most times some of these political parties have, especially those of them who find themselves their way into power, they want to run a one-party system in governance. Now, and they are forgetting that you have to separate politics from governance. If the politics is over, what you need to do is to bring all out. Yes, you have said Soludo has extended his hands of a fellowship to other candidates or whatever. The question now remains now, these candidates, are they even happy with what is going on? Are they happy with how the process that actually, produce this leadership? It's also another pertinent question.
Okay. All right.
Some of them, including myself, will tell you the process is faulty. So how do you work with some? For example, how do I want to go and work with somebody whom have the mentality that for him or her to find their way into power is unless when they engage in electoral inducement? That is against my kind of political ideology or leadership ideology.
Mr. Makiri, I guess we have to leave it at that for now. Dr. Okpala, very quickly, 60 seconds. What do you think is the task ahead of Governor Soludo? Very quickly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Very quickly, please.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the task ahead is quite clear. This is a man who has, governed the state in the last 4 years with utmost clarity, with a clearly defined and documented manifesto, one block at a time, laying the foundations for what he refers to as the Anambra, Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley. And of course, where the goal is to make Anambra a livable and prosperous, smart, mega city. And the foundations are quite manifest. You go to Anambra today, you come to Anambra today, it has become one huge construction site.
Okay.
Currently, we have, built over 1,000 kilometers of road, commissioned over 800. And
Dr. Jimafo, I'm afraid that I have to cut you
in terms of my
up
parting
there.
words, my parting words,
Right.
just my parting words. What I'll just say is, there's this common saying that when you fail and your friend fails, you bad. But when you succeed and when you fail and your friend succeeds, you feel worse. So I'm not shocked that my brother here, Bishop Makri, says he may not be happy. But the olive branch still, extends to all of them.
Dr. Jimafo, the governor has extended the hand of fellowship to all the political parties. I hope that when they do accept that hand of fellowship, the ABGA will be willing to work with them. Thank you so much. Dr. Ejimofo Okpala is the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Grand Alliance. Thank you. And Mr. Bishop Amakiri is the National Chairman of the YPP, the Young Progressive Party. Thank you so much for your time, and we do appreciate your contributions to this program. All right.
It's my pleasure always.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, great. Good to have you. Okay, let's leave you with this report on the increasing role of technology in education. The shift to smart education, innovative systems by many countries across the world has been recommended for adoption by Nigeria. Advocates of the system, including the Korea International Cooperation Agency, says it is changing the world and guarantees a better future for citizens. But what is smart education? How can it improve Nigeria's education system and benefit national development? Education specialists explain how in this report by our correspondent, Ngozi Onyejaku.
Education has always been central to a nation's capacity to evolve structurally from a low-skilled economy to an advanced economy. Achieving this transformation requires a coherent, policy-driven process anchored on long-term national objectives shaped by domestic social values and responsive to global structural changes. Such a policy must be flexible enough to adapt to global dynamics, yet firm enough to preserve its foundational philosophy. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, frequent shifts in the education system have consistently undermined this capacity, creating a persistent struggle to realize the country's ambitions. This is why Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC) is partnering Korea International Cooperation Agency in smart education in Nigeria. The project, titled The Implementation of Multimedia Learning Environment and Teaching Capacity Building for Nigerian Public Primary and Junior Secondary Schools, aimed at improving education in schools to provide smart learning experiences among students.
We are delighted to be joining with a diverse group of policymakers, educators, and practitioners. We are all united in our shared goal of improving the quality of education for Nigerian children through innovation and collaboration. Today, we gathered here to reflect on the progress we have made together under the Multimedia Education Project, share lessons learned and experience from the field, and discuss how we can sustain and build on these achievements.
So smart education is basically going to take the center stage going forward in Nigeria, because we realize that it makes learning outcomes much, much effective and better. And it's something that actually, taps the interests of kids, because education is presented in a way that is very much interesting for kids than boring. So smart education is not just about the technology in terms of the tablet and infrastructure, but also the change in pedagogy, how teaching and learning actually takes place in class. So while the traditional teaching is a function of the teacher leading the class, smart education is the other way around, where the student actually start the conversation in the education. So we have different models that we've implemented in this project in terms of smart education, different teaching methodology we've done, like blended learning, using flip or using a rotational model.
We expect our distant outcomes to be much more sustainable, even just the return, after return to Korea. So that is why we just strongly believe our guiding teachers we trained, and then we just encourage them, okay, to activate their just activity, centered around name of TLC, Teachers Learning Community. Now, in the second phase of the project, actually, it is extended to all smart school as well as effective.
Personally, we've shifted from our lecture style mode where the teacher is the sole custodian of knowledge. We believe the teacher knows it all, which is common. We've now shifted to a learner-centered approach, whereby we have collaborative learning and using digital tools and multimedia contents in our teaching. It has improved our learning and teaching experience for our learners. Our learners now learn with curiosity, full of confidence, and have also mastered the skills needed to implement digital tools in delivering lessons.
The project trains teachers in digital skills and develop ICT-based learning content for students. The goal is to improve learning outcomes, foster 21st century skills, and transform education through technology and digital resources.
Actually, when I just got this project, I just really focus on how to efficient implementation of the project management. But we take a kind of systematic approach. So, and what systematic approach means that we just well-structured kind of the plans for implementation in terms of the master plan of implementation, as well as we developed the implementation strategy. What that means, we just when you just prepare kind of the program for capacity building, we actually give orientation first, and then during the orientation, because we have quite a difference between in terms of the cultural awareness, because we are non-Nigerians, so that is why we just recognize the difference between the cultural gap. So we ask our audience, okay, what kind of the things to be much more localized in terms of the implementation of program. So that part, it just actually included the program development, and then our program design was much more based on kind of practicum. Practicum means that what the teachers really need, what government officials really need, what school leaders really need when they're back to school. So that is why we just encourage school leadership to develop their skills and the individual development plan, school development plan. For school teachers, we just train them based on kind of digital competency, as well as how to practice innovative pedagogy, and then how to take a kind of leadership, because they are expected to deliver kind of mentoring to guiding teachers.
A lot of successes has been achieved. Greater percentage of the workforce in Bauchi are now computer literate. Before the inception of that program, a lot of people cannot manipulate computer, but after certain time, after undergoing a lot of training programs in abroad as well in Abuja and so on in other parts of Nigeria, there is a lot of success, and it has played a very vital role in the lives of people. Now, looking at that, the state government, in conjunction with SUBEB, now decided to develop more e-learning centers and mega schools, and they use teachers from smart schools to do the step down on technical know-how on teaching and learning and on smart education. So smart education has come to stay, and in the near future, more than a greater percentage of pupils as well as students in Bauchi, they are going to be computer literate, because the teaching and learning is computer based. Though there is a kind of blended learning, a little bit of traditional teaching, and as well as that of computer. So that is a very nice
program. Is well received in Ekiti State. As you know that well, Ekiti State is a state of fountain of knowledge, And the only industry that we have in Ekiti is education. So the program was well received, and I want to tell you that it has impacted so many lives, most especially in the rural areas where the school is based, because students now they are able to make use of a computer, right, in writing their exams, in administering every question, you know. So we have been able, you know, to do all this. And aside from that, there's what we call competitive learning, which of course this program has already impacted even on the student. So today, if you look at, you know, the baseline, where the something started, and now there is a tremendous improvement, right, with the smart education.
Stakeholders and beneficiaries expressed optimism that the smart education systems would provide access to quality learning opportunities and improve learning outcomes across the 36 states and Federal Capital Territory, FCT. They want governments to commit to providing quality learning systems for students by adopting and encouraging more investment in smart education classrooms.
There is a great improvement in terms of digital competency of the teachers and then the student. All indicators based on best practice shows that digital learning has greatly improved the performances of our learners.
Idea. We hope and we pray that government will sink more money into smart education, whereby each and every citizen, right from the kindergarten up to the highest level of education, that's the tertiary institution, are going to be computer literate. Because now, as I'm talking to you, the world has become a global village, whereby teaching and learning take place with computers.
One of the challenges that we face in smart education implementations is, first of all, lack of adequate digital competency of the teachers. But with the training that COICA and UBEC has conducted, that has really improved the competency of the teachers in terms of use and utilizations of these digital devices.
It has changed a lot of their lives. It has, you know, brought, you know, some people that they have without even written up, you know, to a limelight. Today, they can compete favorably, you know, with their colleagues in all parts of the world. And I've made the point to say that we have won a lot of awards because of this smart school education. If you get to it today, if you see our what do you call it, our digital lab, you know, that we have there, they provided a lot of things, you know, and this one is similar enough, you know, to in fact even establish a radio station with what we have on ground now. So we are trying to sustain.
One striking thing about smart schools is that it promotes teachers-student collaboration, student-centered learning, participation in extracurricular activities to enhance students' physical and mental well-being.
This is a current call for us. When I say us, I mean all stakeholders who are key in education to make sure that everybody come together to work together to make sure that smart education is the way to go. Like I explained, smart education is beyond technology. It's also the change of pedagogy, how education is delivered in the classroom. For many people, I always use this instance. Most people who are adults today never liked mathematics because of how mathematics was taught during their days. But today, with smart education, the way mathematics is taught is very, very interactive and very, very fun. So kids even find, interest in science and interest in mathematics, which is a core area we need to go, even, before they grow up. So smart education is the way to go. It is something that we encourage all stakeholders from the government to make policies that include this, to the local government who actually implement this education, to make sure that teachers are all conversant with smart education. And like I've said, smart education beyond the technology use, but also how teaching is actually done in the class. So at the end of the day, we want to have a better learning outcome for our kids, especially in core subjects of mathematics, science, and English.
The project implemented by Ubion Consortium enhances education by using hardware such as interactive screens, software like online resources and digital advances for collaborative learning, while also collecting data to improve the quality and equity of education. So far, the project is being implemented in Bauchi, Ekiti, Cross River, Kano, Nasarawa states, and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The annual Performance Evaluation Forum serves as a platform for innovation, accountability, and recognition among Nigerian smart schools, reinforcing the nation's commitment to technology-driven education and the development of future-ready leaders.